Yeah, the environmental controls at the back of a 135 are not awesome. Yeah.
General Alvin, don't sell yourself short at age 63. Senator Gillibrand.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Mink, the Space Force, NRO, NGA are working to establish the policies and procedures that will guide the DoD's use of space-based tactical ISRT. Now that you are Secretary, what is your assessment of this progress, and do you believe, what do you believe must still be resolved?
I didn't say that.
I think at a high level, the agreement on how we're going to allocate resources and allow for commanders to task and get what they need. I'm talking about commanders. I think that's all laid flat. Now, I think the devil's in the details, so how you actually do that, right? We're just starting to field capability now and starting to do experimentation with that now and fielding tools to allow that to happen. There's obviously still a lot of work to go, but I think there's been great progress made. And the fact that we already have systems that we can start doing testing with and start doing exercising, support INDOPACOM and other theaters will be critically important. I guess I'd lead General Saltzman if he has any additional comments.
The TAC SRT is an important capability that we've offered to the combatant commands. It fills a niche where you have unclassified capabilities that can get quickly into the planner's hands. It's intended to complement what the intelligence community, NRO and NGA, provide to combatant commanders writ large. Admiral Whitworth and I have been working very closely. We have working group level discussions. We're refining the procedures and policies to make sure there's not overlap, there's not too much redundancy. We don't want to pay for imagery twice, for example. And I hope later this week to be able to sign a memorandum of understanding that outlines those procedures, and we'll be in a much better place.
Thank you, General Saltzman. Last week, in the testimony before the House Armed Services Committee, it was revealed that Space Force will lose about 10% of its civilian workforce. For the service that is already lean and by many accounts should be growing, how will this loss of these civilian professionals impact Guardians and the Space Force's mission?
Thank you, Senator. We rely heavily on our civilian workforce. They bring expertise that we don't have in the active duty. They bring corporate continuity across all of our processes and procedures. 10%, although the raw numbers might be kind of small, 10% is a large hit. And obviously, we use a lot of our civilian workforce in the acquisition of our systems, which is a critical capability that we bring. So I'm worried about replacing that level of expertise in the near term as we try to resolve it and make sure we have a good workforce doing that acquisition work.
And General Saltzman, you and I have talked about the Cyber Academy and how important it is to train young people to do some of these civilian jobs and to make sure that they can aspire to be in the Space Force and to aspire to be in the DoD in different capacities as civilians. We've heard recent reports that because of the hiring freeze, that these young graduates from the Cyber Academy aren't able to get the jobs that they need to enter into Space Force, NRO, NGA, not NGA, that's the National Governors Association, yeah, NGA, are unable to do that. Do you have any insight into what we can do to unstick that pipeline that we're so desperate to try to grow?
Well, we were in a period of managed growth. The civilian workforce by the end of 25 was supposed to be almost 1,000 larger than it's going to end up being. That's a part of not just the incentives that we've given for people to resign or retire early. We've also we kind of stopped the growth that we had planned to accomplish these missions. And cyber defense is a perfect example of one of those missions that we've suspended hiring until we figure out exactly what the size of the civilian workforce is going to be, and then we will rebalance the force. Cyber is not going to go away. We need to make sure we're recruiting those people because that's a skill set we desperately need.
And General, do you know how long it will take to finish the assessment of the numbers of who you have and what you have and rebalancing the force? How long might that take? Because again, one of the challenges that we created the Cyber Academy to address is that onboarding took so long for organizations like NRO or CIA or other capacities that rely on cyber-heavy skill sets, that we would lose these extraordinarily gifted young people to the private sector. We've created the Cyber Academy specifically to ramp them on to public service. So there's an urgency, and if you have any estimate in times or any ways that you would suggest to the administration that we could maybe surge resources to get this done sooner than later.
I was really proud at how fast we were able to onboard our civilian hires. I thought the Space Force had done a nice job of reducing that timeline. The DOD is really looking at what the size of the civilian workforce is. And so as those incentives to reshape the workforce affect the Space Force, I'm not sure exactly where we're going to end up, what our final size is going to be. As soon as I understand what that size is, then we will redistribute and reallocate the civilian workforce as necessary.
Thank you. Thank you all for your service.
Thank you, Senator